I'm the executive director of Projeto Paradiso. People of the team are here with us, Raquel and Luisa and Bea. And the idea is to, we also have Lídia Damatto, who received a fellowship in 2019 to study at DFFB at the Next Wave program. And so the idea is that we'll have the institutional, perspective on things, and then we'll have someone from the inside telling us how it was, and especially from the Brazilian point of view. So they will each speak shortly. Lysann has been running the program since summer 2019. And she also is overseeing, I didn't know that, Lysann, I just learned it, the marketing activities of MUBI in Germany since last year. So that's very exciting too. Very hands-on also, I guess. And during the pandemic, MUBI, I mean, I guess that must have been really interesting because they were very creative and very proactive. It was really wonderful to see what they were doing. And she also serves as a mentor and consultant for the training program of the International Confederation of Art House Cinemas SICAI in Veneza. So Lysann will talk a little bit about the program. She has a little presentation, but the idea is that so I want to thank everybody for their presence, people that are coming in, people that have been with us for the last 7 minutes. Thank you, everybody. It's really about you asking your questions. So the idea is that they'll speak shortly, and then whoever wants to ask anything, if you guys can open up your cameras, it's always nicer to see your faces rather than a black square. It's lovely to see you, actually. So welcome, and please interrupt and ask whatever you're here to ask. I'll hand it over to Lysann and to talk a little bit about the program, and then Lydia, and then we're on for the Q&A.
Okay, thank you so much, Josephine, and thanks for having us today. It's really a pleasure, and I hope you can see now the presentation in full mode.
Yes, it's fine. It's
great. So just to start off the conversation and to give you like a quick overview on what we are doing at Next Wave. So we are a 9-month professional training program, which is run and designed by the German Film and Television Academy in Berlin, so the official film school of Berlin. And we focus on different areas of the value chain, and we try to connect all the dots. And basically, we focus on the areas of sales, distribution, exhibition, film marketing, audience engagement, which is like quite an underlying theme for all these different areas. And so we believe that it's very important nowadays, especially regarding the developments of the pandemic now, but also beforehand already the changes that happened in the media landscape, to analyze like emerging developments in the film industry. And of course, now we see like radical shifts in audience behavior, the streaming platforms who reshape the film market and who really transform the audiovisual market. And we believe that this calls for a radical rethinking of the expectation chain. That's why like we want to kind of like enable our participants to reshape the film, the way films are distributed and contextualized and exhibited in the 21st century. We want to provide them with business knowledge, practical expertise, strategic skills, but also an international network. So like an interdisciplinary approach is very important for us. As you can see here, our program is based on 5 pillars. So cohort-based learning through seminars, workshops, and lectures. We always try to enforce like a hands-on research and development of projects, interdisciplinary approach I already mentioned. We believe in the continuous dissemination also of the results of our program. And of course, one important element is also research and study trips. I will say a few more words later on. you can see some of our focus areas. So we have a closer look on not only future exploitation patterns, but also past and current structures and release strategies. Of course, impact of streaming and the role of intermediaries is important. Digital forms of marketing and data-driven marketing strategies. Curatorship across all media. And audience development, which is sometimes not as easily tangible, but that's of course like a very, very important question that we ask ourselves constantly. Where are audiences and how do we reach them? And of course, we have a look at market norms, business structures, and also try to integrate some methods that come actually from the startup world. So we try to bridge, let's say, the traditional film industry, but also and the kind of innovative startup world. As mentioned, study trips is actually an important element of our training. Sadly, or like unfortunately, of course, the situation has been that we weren't able to travel at all, like in the past year. So we participated in online markets, and Lydia can, like, she also suffered, of course, from these developments. But as soon, like at the moment, we are observing very closely the situation, and as soon as it's possible, and actually festivals and film markets happen again on site, then we also want to go there and would like to kind of build on our expand our relationships to the different markets as well. So one important partner is the French National Film School in Paris, the International Film Festival Rotterdam. We are in good terms with them, and the European film market in Berlin and the Marché de Film in Cannes are very strong partners of ours and very important markets, of course.
Then just to understand, is that your goal for next year, or is that what you did last year, or what is that?
No, this is the goal, like to go there. I mean, as long as these markets happen on site and there is a way of like a physical presence for us, then we will definitely aim to go there. This year it hasn't been like possible, or like we were only participating in the online event. Yeah, you can see here our advisory board. These are like very kind of like leading figures in the film industry. So I'm very happy to work with such people as like Bobby Allen from MUBI, or Vanya, who's the director of the International Film Festival Rotterdam, or Sten, who's the advisor and programmer for the Cannes Next section. So you can find more information on these people on our website as well. So please check them out, because they act not only as a sparring partner for our program, but also as mentors for our trainees, and who follow up really closely with their individual project development. So now, last but not least, who are we looking for? So we are looking for young professionals with, let's say, 3 to 5 years of documented working experiences in any of the fields. So it can be production, sales, distribution, exhibition, or festival work. Or maybe even curatorial work. But we are really looking for collaborative, creative, and entrepreneurial minds, and who want to move into the direction of sales or distribution, or kind of want to reshape or rethink the way films are distributed in the future. Yes, I already said it's run by the DFFB in Berlin, and we get fundings from Creative Europe and the Medienboard Berlin-Brandenburg. Our next edition will kick off in October this year, and then end with the annual summit in June 2022. And applications are now open until 31st of May. So yes, if you're interested, please check out our website, get in touch, ask your questions here. We have time for yeah, to really have a discussion on this. And you will also hear now from Lydia, I guess, about her experiences. And thank you very much.
Lysann, right before I'll hand it over to Lydia,
Yeah.
People are clapping. People meaning Paula. But we can't hear them. Just one question. In terms of the composition of the group, because it's supported by creative media, it's pretty much geared towards a European audience, but you do have international students. You have very few slots. I understand it's quite competitive for people like us to get in, and you have few slots, and that means that you're, most of the group will be made of Europeans, right?
Exactly. So last year, the first year when Lydia was there, we had 3 people from non-European countries. But it depends also, we can only have like a certain percentage, and that's like a guideline from Creative Europe. So it depends a bit on the total number of participants, how many people we will take on, but it will be a maximum of 3 people.
Yeah, and Max was a bit of a spy, right? Because he was Australian, but also British.
Yeah, exactly. We found the loophole.
Yeah,
and I guess
it was just me from Brazil and Tomas from Panama, who were not European.
Yeah, so it's always the same. Go ahead, Lydia. We have more questions, but I'll keep them for the end. Go ahead. Tell us about your experience.
So I was
highlight
part
what it changed in your
the
career.
first edition. Okay, I was a part of the first edition in 2019. I found out about the program through the Locarno Industry Academy. Someone posted on a Facebook group, and I think maybe it was Zach actually who commented or something, like somehow the post kind of popped up on Facebook, and I saw it and I applied. I got selected. We started in October of 2019. And I think we were a bit luckier than the ones in 2020 because we still had sort of a normal 6 months of a program. So we went on the study trips. I think the first one that we couldn't go was CPH Docs. That's when the pandemic happened. We participated in the Berlinale, and then everything happened, and the program had to shift to online. But so I think Lysann, the best out of it, because we had this big summit in June, and we ended up having the summit in July inside of Cannes. So somehow our platform became much bigger because of that when we were presenting the projects. I come from a background of film sales. I've been working with film sales since 2005. But the other participants were from all of different parts of the industry. I was actually the only person who came from a sales background. There were a lot of people that had worked with film festivals. There was a producer, 2 producers. I'm not going to remember what everyone did right now. Distributor, someone who ran a cinema in Romania. So all different kind of areas within distribution, let's say, this bigger sort of umbrella of film distribution. I really enjoy the program. I think it's really interesting to be in Berlin for 9 months. Sometimes it's harder for us to go to events, especially to these smaller events, because we're so far away. When you are in Berlin, things are closer, it's a lot easier, it's a lot cheaper. These trips are already included in the program, so you're not paying for anything. You're traveling with the entire class, and Rebecca books train tickets, and then we get hotel rooms and all of that. So it was really interesting. It was really nice to collaborate with the other participants. I think we were 15 and we became really, really close, and we're still really good friends, and we talk still very often and help each other. I was also very lucky to find 4 other people who had similar goals that I had, and we started something together. So we're working together, the 5 of us, and I wouldn't have met them if I hadn't been a part of the program. So I think that was the biggest takeaway from the program. The guests who are invited are always really high profile. So I think the lectures are really, really great. And it's a different approach, I think, to any sort of program that I've been a part of. I've been a part of Locarno Industry Academy, and I've been a part of Brilliantly Talents. And the Next Wave is a bit, it's different because they try to be this cutting edge program and like trying to change things and think differently. So we had a lot of this startup mentality and startup fundamentals that were completely new to me. And I think we had some, we didn't accept them easily, because I think it's really hard to come from this working in the industry and, you know, and being sort of like a part of the system. Even if we are young professionals, we're getting used to like how things are going, and then we're confronted by this new way of doing things. So I think it's a bit hard at first to assimilate, but afterwards, I think it's really great and really amazing. Like I had some business training, it's something that I had never had before. So that was very helpful when trying to create something with these partners that I now have. And we have a lot of, we had like coaching from different people that, you know, really helped us shape the project, the company that we are trying to, I mean, we created, and we're, you know, slowly working on it to make it sustainable and grow. But if it hadn't been for the program, I think we would be like a year behind, because I think we had the tools because of a program of like how to structure things, even if it's like how to structure a profit and loss. So these really sort of down to the details things. And the last thing I'll talk about is the mentors. I think the mentors are really important, and it's great. I asked to have Matthias as a mentor. Back then he was the head of the EFM. I cannot recommend him enough. He's one of the nicest human beings on the planet. And he was really, really helpful. And we had this one-on-one sessions, and it was kind of like when the pandemic hit. So he was even like talking to a psychologist, because he would help me, you know, work it out through like things are changing, but you know, you are going to be part of the change, and you're ahead of the change. And he really helped us rethink some of the ideas that we had for the project and shift things. And I think all of these mentors are really important. They all have different areas of expertise, and they help in different ways. But it's really amazing to have access to these people who are really high profile and who are doing that, you know, for you, spending 4 hours or 5 hours just like mentoring you. And otherwise you wouldn't have that opportunity. And I think that's it.
Are you still in touch with Matthias?
Not recently, but he texted me right after the summit, and he was like, if you need any help, if you need a recommendation or anything, just write to me. And I wanted to talk to him at that networking event that we had, but I didn't realize at the time zone changed and I was an hour late. I thought it started at 10. Yeah, it started at 9.
Thanks, Lydia. I think that was very helpful. People are, I think, raising their hands already and might have questions, so we'll open up for questions. I guess maybe one of the things that we've been asked is, for Lysann maybe to answer is about the seniority. We know people just in this room that have a lot more than 3 to 5 years of experience, and starting with even Lydia, who when she applied already had more than that. So I guess one of the questions was, so I'll start and then I'll open up the floor, is, what about more senior people? Will they fit in? We understand they still have a lot to learn. That's why we were very confident when Lydia applied, and we talked to some of the mentors, and we realized that the quality of the experience as a whole was probably of great benefit even for more senior candidates. But what's your take on that, Lisa?
Yeah, I mean, that's like when I say 3 to 5 years, that's like kind of like the guideline or what we have like in our Creative Europe applications. That's like, yeah, that's kind of like the bottom line, but it's not set in stone, and we really have a look at the applications and then also try to balance within the group and kind of like that the group reflects some sort of diversity, and there is like there's different perspectives already within the group on the film industry. So I think, yeah, like if I would just encourage everyone who is interested to apply, and then we will evaluate the applications and also the level of application, and maybe mentioning that like the application process, because that's something that we changed like after the first year, because now we ask people already to apply with like 2 project ideas. And so people are not selected based on like only the idea. They're really selected based on like their professional career path. But it's interesting to see what they have in mind, like what they would like to work on. And that's also something that we take into consideration. Yeah.
I have a question about that, if that's okay.
Yes.
The two ideas that you have to submit on application, how much in depth it has to be for the application? Can it just like be an idea, or do we need to like have like a structured project or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it can be just a 1-pager to kind of like give a rough outline on what's the main idea, and also like some arguments why you think this is important, and like how exactly it would fit into the film industry. But it doesn't have to be like a very detailed proposal already, because that's not something that we expect, because that's something that everyone is supposed to develop throughout the 9 months.
Yeah. I was having a look at the website and I saw some of the projects that you have there, and there's a lot of like group projects. And is that something that people just develop together from ideas that they had first, and how's that like?
I think like, yes, it's really interesting to see that like that just it's just like a development that we also saw. And of course it's really intrinsic in the group, like it stems from the participants themselves, to kind of like wanting to collaborate on certain things or having the same mindset. That's, yeah, it's just I think it always depends on the individuals. But we ask everyone to still represent and deliver like an individual project in the end. And if there is like some other forms of collaboration within the team, then that's of course something that we also support, because it's super nice. I mean, I'm really happy to hear that, for example, Lydia and her colleagues are still working together. For me, that's like very like my biggest goal, so to say, because I really find it beautiful that like professionals need and they still realize, like they still have, like, there's a real world impact of these projects.
And it's something that sort of happened throughout the program, because I started with a project by myself, and then I realized that Keral was basically doing the same thing as me. And then other people kind of came in with different areas. So it started out as my project and then became a project of 5 people.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you.
Could you guys give us examples of what kinds of projects that are developed throughout the course? Like what kinds of things that you're looking for and people have worked with before?
Yeah, I mean, Lydia can talk about her own project like later, maybe more in detail, because I also think it's super interesting. But it's like a big range and of projects. And for us, like for me especially, the question is not so much like what we are looking for, but like what is the industry looking for? What kind of needs that are there, like within the industry, and like how can we cater to these changing developments? But in general, it's really like a big range. There is like the festival ideas, business ideas on like sales companies or consultancies, or platform ideas. Like it's really a wide mix of things.
Yeah, I haven't pitched this so long. It's my idea started out as a sales company, but I wanted to start a different kind of sales company because sales companies are struggling right now. And then Keral had an idea for a festival agency, and we kind of mixed that together. And then we also offer consultancy for producers who are attending international markets for the first time. We've done that. So we became a huge sort of consultancy, an international consultancy, because we're all from different territories. And that was the unique idea, that we were able to connect these people that have experience in different territories and offer different services under the same company. So we've done festival strategies for films. We've done training for film professionals. We've done consultancy for film professionals on film markets. We've represented projects of film markets, and we're slowly moving into sales, but like in a very controlled and very specific way, just so we don't rely only on sales. And we're also looking to work with national institutions. So we're trying to work with Cinema from Catalunya and with Pro Imágenes from Colombia. So we're also consulting and helping these companies expand their international reach through specific needs that they have. So yeah, so in general, it's a company that encompasses all of that. But there was someone else, like in my group, who her project was to connect films with younger audiences in Sweden. She's from Sweden. So she started this fanzine, like it's a service for recommending films for teenagers, and in a language that is like accessible to teenagers, so teenagers get interested in films, and she's developing that as well.
More questions? Enquanto alguém se decide, eu só esqueci de falar que a bolsa, so the scholarship that we offer, I should mention, will cover, as Projeto Paradiso, will cover the tuition fees of 4,000 euros, but no cost of life kind of fees. So you have to get by in Berlin for 9 months on your own, which is a question, of course, because euro is really bad in terms of for our little Brazilian real in the moment. So it's very important that we make this very clear from the onset. that our support will only cover tuition, which is, I think, you know, a great part of the investment, but there is another part of the investment, of course, of, you know, thinking of living for 9 months. And I'm not sure how much of the workload allows you to have, actually, that might be a question. How much can you still work for Brazil if you have ongoing commitments or take new commitments on top of, you know, studying at the DFFB? Maybe Lydia, you can tell us, or even Lysann.
Well,
I had a very special situation because I was working for a company where I could change my hours, and my boss didn't really mind because I was in Europe, so I was already not working in his time zone, so I could, you know, work weird hours and weekends, but that was a very specific situation to me. I do think it's hard to keep working full time.
Yeah, I mean, there's always, it really depends on the individual situations. There's all kind of different models that people find. I would recommend, if possible, of course, if your situation allows, to really kind of like dive into it in a full-time basis, because like that, it's you will get the most out of it also from the program, because it's set to be like a full-time program. I know that some situations it's difficult, and some people need to work maybe like a couple of hours next to the program, which is possible. There's always some people who still follow up with their work or like jobs, but it's definitely a lot to take on. And maybe I can also say a few words on like Berlin, because I know like now the situation is so difficult, and I already see that we will definitely have some sort of hybrid program also next year, like following from October on. I mean, this year has been quite tough for our participants. They all came to Berlin, and we met up like for the first 2 weeks, I think, and then we had to shift everything online. So they basically do everything online, and I'm really still like very proud of them, because I know it's like quite tough, but like for, I think also our like mentors and teachers who teach for the program, I think it's not realistic that everyone will be able to come to Berlin and travel again as like in 2019. So I think there will definitely it will be a mix of like online and on-site sessions.
Yeah, that was a question. Bye, Paula.
I think it's very interesting. I think you already answered all my questions. I think one of the first ones would be like, you know, how young must be the young professional. I think that's Josephine spoke about that straight away, and I think you guys answered really like all my questions. I'm finding it. I came here not to hear because I find really like so interesting, no, the subject, and we are really living such a moment of shift in the industry that, I mean, of course, to have a very serious program to rethink how we consume and distribute and work with audiovisual is very interesting. I think you already answer all my questions. I cannot think about a new one.
Okay.
Hi, I have a question. I'm sorry, my video is not on. Just a second. Hi. Hi. I'd love to know if you could give us tips on how to make a successful application, if there are any particular things that we should be paying attention to. I think that would be very helpful. Thank you.
I mean, I don't know if you already had a look at the application form, but I would just really advise to really think about the questions in depth, not like in a superficial way, because I know like you could fill in like in just half an hour like that, but I think yeah, to really also have a thought on like why you want to apply to the program, or like why you want to would like to participate, and what's the bigger goal. And I think what I also mentioned in the presentation, we really look for like entrepreneurial people, or like who have this kind of way of, you know, like maybe they would even create their company later on and try to yeah, try to be like as independent as possible. So I think that's, yeah, just my advice.
Thank you.
¿Qué más? Did we cover it all?
I guess sorry, I'm just curious to know how the classes are. Like, it's seminars, it's mixed with like working on projects, you know, just understanding a little bit more about the classes and the course itself.
Yeah, so it really depends on the specific topics. I mean, of course, we have like regular lectures, but we have also kind of like hands-on workshops when it's suitable to the topics. And then we have certain elements that are also quite like practical mentoring sessions, or individual mentoring sessions, also on elements that are useful for the project development. And we kind of do a weekly wrap up, and yeah, it's like all different elements. There's also sessions on like more for the individual development, like maybe not even so much connected to the project itself, but more to like how like your personal development in a way, and your career future. So yeah, it's like a wild mix of different things.
And for what I understood with Lydia, you can start with a project and then develop, like have different outcomes with it, right? And like try new things and change it as it goes, right?
I think most of the projects evolved. I think some people even gave up their projects and thought of new projects. But when we started in 2019, we didn't have to submit 2 project ideas during the application. It was something that was brought onto us later. So we each had 1 project idea. I happened to keep my project idea, and just like it evolved, I think, with time. Other people changed or got together with other people. So it really depended.
I guess I have a question now, like I was talking about the project. We submit 2 projects, and you actually develop both of them, or you kind of choose one during the course of the workshop?
Yeah, no, you definitely choose one. But then, as Lydia said, it's almost like it won't stay the same anyway. So like you can already prepare yourself that you will make many turns, and that's like that's also like a fruitful development, I think, and like a normal path. So yeah, but in the end, each participant is supposed to present one like a final project.
Sorry, is it okay? I was I was looking at the C report that you have on the website. That was a student project, is that it?
Yeah, that was also a research study that was compiled by 3 participants together.
So can we have a research project as a final project, or does it have to be? Yeah, you can. Okay.
Yeah, and there is also this year there are some, like a couple of people who don't necessarily have like a practical business idea, but they're interested in a certain element of the film industry and kind of like dig deeper into like their research. Yes.
Yeah, because I think now it's so everything is so uncertain that I think there are a lot of there has to be a lot of studies going on now so we can understand what's happening. So I think that being able to submit a research idea it's interesting, I think.
Great. 40 minutes exactly. Does anyone have a last question, or should we wrap up?
I have an observation that isn't necessarily related to the program, but just an advice. It's really hard to find an apartment in Britain. Really, really hard. So start looking before you go if you're selected. And it's especially hard because you have to do this registration called the Anmeldung, which I'm pronouncing incorrectly. And it's most of the apartments that you will find will be sublets, which means that you're renting from someone who's renting from someone else. And when you have that kind of contract, you can't do this registration. So it's really frustrating. You really have to go through a lot of apartments until you find that, and prices are very, very different.
And maybe on that note, Lydia, do you want to give us an idea of like the cost of life per month, an average in euros, to have, for people to kind of prepare themselves, brace themselves?
I think it's really, it can vary greatly on what area you are living and what kind of apartment you find, because I was only able to find apartments that were on the higher end. So I was paying 850 euros a month in rent, which is a lot. Some people were paying 400, which is half. So it really depends. And that's why you have to look like in advance, because in the end I took the 850 because it was the only thing that I could find. But food is very cheap in Berlin. Especially compared to other cities. Even going to a restaurant, you can go to a restaurant for 10 euros, which you can't in other places. So food, groceries, that's all very cheap. When you're paying rent, generally all amenities are included, so you're not paying water and other bills, so you're just paying that. And the great thing is that the DFFB gives you a transportation card that you don't pay for transportation. So you can take subway and the train and the bus and the tram and not pay. So basically you're going to be paying for, leisure activities, going out, going to the cinema, and groceries and rent.
Going to the cinema, it sounds like a paradise.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, let's dream. Okay, so unless anybody wants to ask a last thing, I think we'll wrap up. I want to thank Lysann for her participation, and also just for this incredible initiative. Somebody's clapping. I thought somebody was raising her hand, but Denise is, I think, is clapping. So yeah, thanks, Lysann, and congrats on the program. May it have a long life. And I think it's really crucial, as Paula said, right now, we need to kind of like reboot the conversation. And I think it's really important that we have programs with that kind of quality and time to do that, because it's a long conversation that we need to have. And it'd be wonderful that Brazil is a part of that conversation. I think that's kind of our, kind of intent here at Paradiso, that we connect with that conversation, with those trends, and then bring back kind of this creative mind back to our country and make things happen over here. So we trust that one of these great people in the room will make it through your tough selection. with the tips that you gave us today. And I want to thank Lydia for being a part of this conversation, and congrats on all the amazing work. Good luck with the really great idea and new company. And if anybody wants further information, you can always reach us at Projeto Paradiso, paradiso@eor.org.br. And you can reach out to me, Josephine, at ior.org.br. And we'll always be there, hopefully, to help you and make COVID permit. And congrats on everybody. Thank you for your presence, also your interest in this program, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you very much, and see you.
Take care, everybody. Stay safe.
Ciao.